This video chapter lesson reviews Part 7 of the N400 application. If you have a copy of your original N400, please have it with you during this lesson to follow along. Remember, during your interview, the interviewing officer has a copy of the exact application you sent the United States Citizenship and Immigration Service. If you don't have a copy of the N400, be sure to download a copy from our website. Part 7 of the N400 is about the time you have spent outside of the United States. Basically, you need to know information about all trips and days on vacation, business, or visiting family outside the United States. We will be looking at the different ways the questions can be expressed or asked. There is more than one way to ask the same question. You will have to make sure you can spell correctly information asked of you about your trips outside of the United States, such as the countries you visited. We will help you understand each question and vocabulary. Remember to answer all questions fully and accurately. Let's get familiar with the following word. Total days. Outside of. Trips. Recent.
Upgrade your membership today to America's best citizenship program, now for less than 11 cents a day, and join our VIP area. Easier, better, and faster access to more than 42 high-resolution video lessons, quality MP3s of interview questions and answers, better navigation of all 500 learning activities with instant same-day membership, and no more advertisements or commercials interrupting your lessons. Upgrade now and join the thousands of members who have become U.S. citizens.
In this part of the N400, you will have to put to memory different dates and places you traveled to. You must look at your passport or other documents that will help you see how many trips and days you took outside of the U.S., including trips to Canada, Mexico, and the Caribbean. The first number you must consider is the total number of days you spent outside of the United States, including military service, during the last 5 years. Count the days of every trip that lasted 24 hours or longer. In Part 7, Section A and B, your interviewer will ask you the following questions. How many total days did you spend outside of the U.S. in the past 5 years? How many trips of 24 hours or more have you taken outside the U.S. in the past 5 years? For each trip, you must know the date you left the U.S. and the full date you returned. This would mean knowing the exact month, day, and year you left and returned for each trip. You will need to know if any of your trips lasted longer than 6 months. The interviewing officer can ask the countries you have visited on your trips and why you visited that country. Be sure to know how to spell the countries you visited. Memorize the total number of days you were outside the U.S. for each trip. The U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service might also ask you about any trips you took outside the U.S. since you became a permanent resident. The question would be, how many total trips have you taken outside of the U.S. since you became a resident? Here are some of the possible questions that can be asked of you from Part 7 about your days outside of the U.S. How many total days did you spend outside of the United States during the past 5 years? What is the total amount of days you spent outside of the United States during the past 5 years? How many total days did you spend outside of the United States since you became a permanent resident? How many total days did you spend outside of the United States during the last 5 years? Have you left the U.S.? Have you gone to any other countries? How long did you spend in that country? Where did you go? How long did you stay? How long were you gone? When did you return? How long was your trip? Did you stay outside the US for 6 months?
Order your CD today to receive VIP access to our new online citizenship school, where you'll not only find the 100 questions, but much, much more. You'll learn to answer each question exactly the way you would on the day of your interview by clicking here.
What is the supreme law of the land? The Constitution.
It's that easy. So what are you waiting for? Your CD or MP3 player order gives you access to the best and most complete learning experience available anywhere. Order now.
Here are some of the possible questions that can be asked of you from Part 7 about your trips outside the US. How many trips of 24 hours or more have you taken outside of the United States during the past 5 years? What are the total trips you've taken outside of the United States during the past 5 years? How many trips have you taken since you became a permanent resident? There are also more general questions about your trips. Here are some of the possible questions that can be asked of you from Part 7, Section C, General information about each trip. Did any of your trips last 6 months or more? What countries have you traveled to in the past 5 years? Spell the countries to which you traveled in the last 5 years. Did you visit that country to see family? Did you visit that country for business? Did you visit that country for vacation? Did you enjoy your trip? Why? To test what you just learned in this video chapter lesson, be sure to watch our practice interview videos.